Hello. So this guy is a little, you can see him, there's a little ghost I've made. So he's got this nice little spooky tail, a couple of hands. This one's got a little mouth, so he looks like he's going boo. He's got a hole that goes through the centre of him. So I've been making a lot of these ghosts. It took me a while to get the hang of it, but he sits quite nicely, and I've done them 2 different ways around. So anyway, today I'm going to be making one of these ghosts. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put my safety glasses on so that I'm ready to go. And then what I'll do is, now I've got a nice flame, I've got the aircon on so that to make sure that there's no fumes, and I turn on the oxygen and then just slightly adjust until I'm happy with the flame. Okay, so first of all I started off making these ghosts, and they kind of look like blobs with skirts, and then what I did was put some extra string around the edge and then pull it with pliers to get the shape, and got little marks, and I wasn't so happy with them, so I've been trying lots and lots of different ways to make the ghosts and developing it over a few weeks. Just having a go whenever I've got a chance. So I'm using white ephedra here. Before I do it, I'm just going to slightly adjust where you're looking. There you go, just a bit better. Okay, so first of all I just wave it, let it dance in the flame to start with. And if you've watched me making bead before, you'll know that's so that the glass doesn't shatter because it gets hot too quickly. So I have to let it heat up gradually. And once it's started to heat, then I can hold it in the flame. And the first thing we do to make one of these beads is we make a gather, or as I prefer to call it, a glob at the top. This glass is white, and when it melts it goes transparent. At the moment you'll probably just be seeing a big glowy flame, but for me looking at it, it's transparent. So I'm turning the rod so that as it melts it starts to form a ball on the end. If I let it hang downwards, gravity would pull it and it would drip, so I have to keep catching it. And once I start to get as much, it's quite a big bead I'm making for the base of this ghost, so once I've got quite a hefty chunk of glass gathered at the top, what I can do then is heat my mandrel to make sure that it sticks. Oh, look, it's going too fast there. Caught it. Just if it goes too fast, bring it out of the flame, let it cool a second. Right, so now I'm going to be using gravity to help me wrap this around the mandrel. Okay, you will see. There we go, pulling it off. It's very fluid, heats up quite quickly, and you should see there I've got a nice ball of glass to start to make my ghost. Okay, now because this bead doesn't have to be even and it needs to be narrow at the bottom, so I've got a nice area for his head. So the next part I'm going to do is start to put his tail on. So I heat my glass again. I don't want it quite so hot this time. I want it, rather than runny, which is what it was last time, making a really nice head shape and smooth, I want it a bit more like a sort of toffee consistency, so that I can shape it a little more. So I'm just heating it in the flame, adding it to my blob of glass that I've got originally, making sure it covers a big enough area. And then as it starts to cool, you can see how it's getting stretchy there. And that's when I can start to manipulate it, pull it into the part of the ghost, heating back up, and that should shrink up. And what I found is quite nice is, rather than using tools which make a mark, if I use the glass, I can pull it into a bit of shape with the glass, and that leaves less of a mark on him. So what you can see now is it's a little ghost tail. Okay? Right, so I'm going to give that a bit more of a nudge actually, so I just heat it a little, maybe a little bit more of a nudge over here, to a bit more of a point to him. Ah, yeah, that's better. happy with that. It's got a nice little ghosty shape to him. So what I'm going to do now is just tidy the end of this rod, ready for when I make my next ghost. I'm keeping this one still in the heat because I'm going to do some more work on him. But what I don't want to do is heat him too much because he'll lose his shape. So as I'm heating this rod, you can see it's just tidying up, making itself into the right sort of shape. And if I hold that way, gravity will start to pull it down, get it into position, ready to make my next ghost. There you go, so I'll let that cool now. And as it cools, it will turn back to white. And it's in a nice shape ready. If you leave it all broken and twisty, what tends to happen is it seems to shatter, so not good. Right, okay. Now I've actually found it's much easier to do the eyes before I do the arms, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the other day I made stringer, so you might have seen me done this before. This is out of black. Okay, so it's a black stringer, and it's just like applying dots, but I found it quite tricky to get the eyes in the right place to get the right character for the ghost, so I should do my best. Pull it up. Okay, and I think that's going to be too much, so I don't know, not too bad. One of them's got too much on, and the best thing to do if I get too much is to take a little bit off. So just heat this and heat this spare mandrel. This mandrel's got bend in it, so I don't... Oh, the whole thing came off, that's fine. I'll do another. Can't get it to go right. Come on. We'll turn the flame down a little. I'm working too hard. I'll try a different piece of stringer. So now I've got the twisty end. So what I have to do is shape that. Okay, so. There we go. Right, 2 eyes. So just burn them in. So heat it, let them melt into the ghost. One's quite far over there, so what I'm going to do is use this heated mandrel just to nudge it a little bit into the direction I want it to be. There we go. Same with the other one. Gotta be quite careful because otherwise they can melt into each other, but that's better position. So melt them, heat them up, turn my flame back to the shape it was now. It's just being tricksy today. And once it's hot, turn it over. What happens is they melt into the face of the ghost. A bit more. Turn it on his back, let them melt in, and you should be able to see there, there's the little ghost with 2 eyes. Now some of the ghosts I put mouths on and others I haven't. I'm not going to do a mouth on this one. I think it's quite cute without. So. Next I've got some white stringer. This is pre-made and bought stringer, and I'm going to use it for his little arms. Okay, so heat the stringer up. I'm twisting as I pull off, and then it makes a little arm shape. Heat the side up. Twisting as I pull off, knock that bit in. Oop. See, it's going on the eyes. Such as if I do this the other way around, what happens is, as I'm trying to make the arms, as I'm trying to do the eyes, I change the shape of the arms. Now, what you might notice is while I was doing the eyes, his little tail has formed a little. It's become a little bit too rounded. So I'm just going to use some of this stringer here. Okay, let's get this nice and hot. Pop it on here. Heat it together, just blend it in, and then rotate and pull, and a bit more nudging. That's better. Okay, so I've just reshaped that slightly. Right, I've got here now this little ghost bead. So bring him over to say hello. Hello. Okay, so if I wanted to put a little mouth on, I'd use a really tiny piece of black stringer, but on some of the ghosts I'm putting mouths, this one, he hasn't. I think he's quite sweet as he is. So before he gets too cool, I'm going to put him in my cooling beads, which is where he likes to sit. I was making a ghost earlier and I totally forgot to put his arms on, but this little ghost, you'll see he has got a mouth, so it shows you a bit of a different shape, kind of a bit like a tadpole, I suppose. There you go. So that's me making ghosts today, ready for Halloween, and hope you enjoyed watching me make a ghost. Thank you.